Hey, what up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ari Temkin from the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, and on today's episode, we'll be taking a look at 3 predictions I have for the 2020 Dallas Cowboys roster. Consider hitting that like button and consider subscribing because I post videos nearly daily with Cowboys news, information, and insights. Today's episode is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. 3 predictions for the 2020 Dallas Cowboys roster. Number 1. Tyron Crawford will not be on the final 53-man roster. Tyron Crawford will be released before the final rosters come out. And that's because, well, number 1, Cowboys are going to save about $8 million against the cap if they cut him with only $1.1 million in dead money, or they have to pay him $9 million this year. Considering where this roster is from the interior of their defensive line with the additions of Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe, plus Neville Gallimore, and then last year's second-round pick and Tristan Hill, Antoine Woods is also going to be on this roster. Where does he fit in the interior? Now, some have him penciled in as the starter at right defensive end opposite DeMarcus Lawrence, but they've got Randy Gregory, Aldon Smith, Dorrance Armstrong, and then my favorite guy, rookie Bradley Anae out of Utah. I think one of those guys will emerge as the starter at right defensive end, which is going to make Tyron Crawford expendable. Crawford has probably been underrated, considering a lot of people did not like the price tag, $9 million a year that he signed. But he's been a very versatile, very important player on the defensive line for this Cowboys team. I just think there's less of a need for him now, especially the versatility because of what they have in the interior of that defensive line. And I think of all the lottery tickets the Cowboys have at right defensive end, Aldon Smith, Randy Gregory, Dorrance Armstrong, and Bradley Anae, Anae's the guy that I'm most excited about. What's funny is the thing that had Anae slipping in this draft was a lack of athletic ability, short arms and not the most explosive athlete. But I remember hearing one of the best indicators of success from college football to the NFL, the defensive end position, is sacks. Go figure. If you accumulate a ton of sacks in college, what the data says is you will also accumulate a ton of sacks at the NFL level. Now, Bradley Anae in 2018 led the Pac-12 in sacks, and in 2019 was second in the Pac-12 in sacks with 13. He had 29.5 sacks over the course of his 4 seasons, which is less than 10 sacks a season, so it's not blowing you away. But this is a guy that with limited athletic ability has shown a propensity to getting after the quarterback. He's also a beast when it comes to tackles for losses. And so it's everything beyond explosiveness and athleticism that he's used as advantage towards getting to the quarterback and creating plays behind the line of scrimmage. And that is leverage, it's pass rushing moves. It's those things that go into it that I think make Bradley Anae the presumptive starter at right defensive end, as crazy as that sounds, and therefore make Tyron Crawford and his $9 million a year salary expendable. Number 2, the Cowboys' downfall, if they have one this year, if they fail to meet expectations in 2020, the Cowboys' downfall will be their secondary. I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm not alone. There is this blind faith that a lot of Cowboys fans have in members of this secondary, specifically the cornerback position. But the issue is the Cowboys were pretty bad at corner last year and they lost their best corner. So suddenly now with new defensive coaches and a new defensive philosophy, everything's going to change. Now they did invest some draft capital in Trayvon Diggs and Reggie Robinson, but I'm certainly concerned about cornerback. And beyond that, I have even greater concerns at safety, where you've got basically 2 free safeties starting in Xavier Woods and Clinton Dix. Now Clinton Dix has been the type of guy that has accumulated turnovers over the course of his career, but he misses a lot of tackles. A lot of tackles. And the Cowboys have just shown no willingness, almost in any capacity, to improve their safety position. They have not drafted a safety in the first 2 rounds since drafting Roy Williams. And it's clear that Roy Williams was one of the best safeties they've had in recent history, and yet they still have not invested any draft capital at the top of the draft in the position. They also have not invested much money into it. They have just basically left the safety position to say, we don't care about it. And the way it lines up this year is extremely concerning. So I continue to be concerned about their secondary, the safety position, and the quarterback position. If they do have a downfall this year, it will be because of the Cowboys' lack of interest of building up that safety and cornerback room. Number 3, the Cowboys' best positional group is their offensive line. I think when this season ends, we'll look back on 2020 and say that the offensive line was their best positional group. Now you might be saying, what? Clearly, wide receiver is their best positional group, and it certainly is one of their best. But when you look at the offensive line as a whole, there are certainly question marks, and there's certainly some battles to be had out in camp. But, I mean, let's start with Zach Martin. He is the best player on the Cowboys, period. So their best player is on their offensive line. Tyron Smith, injuries are a concern, the back is a concern, but I think he had a tremendous year last year, especially considering where 2018 ended. Then you have Lyle Collins, and then you have some question marks about the interior, which I get. But the thing is, you've got some tremendous competition for those spots. Tyler Biadasz, the center from Wisconsin, Connor McGovern, Joe Looney, and Connor Williams, essentially competing, those four guys, for two spots. And when you have that much competition, the cream will rise to the top, and you're going to get a pretty good and robust starting five there. Now, does this compare to the starting five that they had in Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, Travis Frederick's prime? No. But as much as the Cowboys haven't invested in any capacity at the safety position, the Cowboys have over-invested along their offensive line. And to that end, I think the Cowboys are set up perfectly. This doesn't even make mention of the addition of Cam Irving as a swing tackle, which I'm not even sure he's the best swing tackle that they have on the roster, because Brandon Knight, who's an undrafted free agent who made the roster last year, showed some pretty tremendous ability as an undrafted free agent last season. And to me, he should supplant Cam Irving as the swing tackle when this season starts. So Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins, Tyler Biadasz, Connor McGovern, Connor Williams, Joe Looney, Cameron Irving, Brandon Knight. Now you're at 9, and how many guys are going to make this roster? Offensive line is a deep position. Offensive line is a talented position. Offensive line is a young position for the most part. And the offensive line has the best player in the Cowboys. Ergo, the offensive line, even though it looks like there's major question marks, and there are, to me, still the best positional group on this Cowboys roster. There you go. 3 predictions about this roster going into the 2020 season. Today's episode has been brought to you by betonline.ag. Look, there's no shortage of action going on right now at betonline.ag. Log on to find it. Sports are slowly making their way back, with UFC, NASCAR, and soccer leading the charge. BetOnline has all the best odds and lines for all the games and matches this weekend. Need more? BetOnline has simulated NFL, NBA, and UFC every day live for you to check out. Looking for something else other than sports? BetOnline has hundreds of live casino games, poker tournaments, and all the best props in the business. Visit betonline.ag or use your mobile device and join today to receive your new welcome bonus and get in on the action right now. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.